Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to be going over some tips on how to help you fix over processed hair if this is something that you are suffering from. The first thing that you want to do to start to begin working on or fixing your over processed hair is to go ahead and assess your hair. Do a self-assessment, and by this, basically all I'm telling you to do is inspect your hair and find the damage. So you can do this by just looking through your hair, looking and noticing areas of thinness, areas where you have a lot of shedding, or as you're doing your hair, if you notice a certain section that has a lot of split ends, or that looks a lot shorter or thinner than another section of your hair, that might be a good indicator that that section is over processed. I know for me, when I had some over processed issues in my hair, what I noticed was thinning. So I believe it was this side. This side was significantly thinner than this side, and it's still, I don't know if you guys can kind of tell, it's still, I don't know which side it was. Maybe it was this side, I don't know, but I believe it was this side. It was like right up in here, where it was just a lot thinner than the other side, and it was visibly thinner, where when I wore my hair, you could clearly see that this side was thinner. When I would run my hands across the back of my hair, I could feel that this side was a lot thinner. And that's what I mean. If you notice that your hair just feels a lot lighter, a lot thinner, that's a section that you want to start monitoring and start paying close attention to, because it doesn't automatically mean that that section is over processed. It could be a host of other things, but I would say just start monitoring that, especially if you do think it's over processed. For me, a lot of the areas that tend to get over processed quickly in my head tend to be my nape, my edges, and sometimes like the crown and through here, or at least those are my most problematic areas that I tend to experience breakage. So just start paying attention to where you see the breakage happening, or where you see the thinning, I would say, happening. With over process, I believe it's gonna be, you're gonna have a combination of your hair looking a lot more thin and your hair just being broken off altogether in that area. And you're gonna notice it because when you go to wash your hair or style your hair, it's just gonna look very, very stringy. Like it's not gonna have like the cohesive look with the rest of your hair. The over processed part is gonna be it's gonna look stringy, it's gonna look lifeless, and it's gonna look like it kind of doesn't flow with the rest of your hair strands. So that's also a good indicator as well. If you just got some strands that's off to the side, that's not really flowing with the rest, that's really stringy, you might want to go ahead and keep your eye on that section so that you can go ahead and start to work on it and correct that issue. Another reason why you want to go ahead and start paying attention to the areas where you're noticing breakage or where you're noticing the over processed area is because you want to try to be as gentle as you possibly can with those areas, especially if it's something like your edges or your nape. So if you notice over processing in those areas specifically, or on your ends, you want to make sure you avoid at all costs styles that are gonna constrict and constrain those areas and put a lot of tension on those areas, because those areas are already more prone to breakage because the bonds are so damaged in those parts of your hair. So you don't want to aid to the breakage by adding a lot of tension to that area where it can just more easily snap off. You want to kind of try to you know, just baby your hair, be more gentle with your hair, and free it if you can of all tension styles or constraining styles if you possibly can. If not, then look into wearing styles that are less constricting. Look into using tools that don't put a lot of tension on your hair, or look for things to hold your hair that don't necessarily cause as much tension as like an elastic band would. The second thing that you want to do, and it's probably one of the most important things in making sure you kind of nurse your hair back to health, is adding protein to your hair. And what I did, I was adding protein to my hair every week to every other week. And you really kind of just have to pay attention to your hair and develop something that works best for you, because you really can overuse protein, and if you end up overusing protein, it can actually do more harm than good, because it may end up drying your hair out, and then not only do you have the over processed areas to deal with, but your hair is also breaking and snapping just because it's dry and brittle and does not have the elasticity that it needs to withstand the daily manipulation that our hair goes through. So if you are someone who is kind of a little bit worried about protein, or you've had issues with it in the past, maybe you don't have to use it every week. Maybe you can just use it every other week. But what I did, regardless of how the frequency I was using protein, I always followed up with a moisturizing deep conditioner. And I have videos on here where I show you guys the protein treatment or protein deep conditioner that I like to use, and the conditioner that I followed up with it after I used that one. So I will either link that video in an info card or down below, or I will put the products on the screen, and I will also link the products if you want to go purchase those products, or just take another look at those products if there's something that you feel like you need or are interested in. But what I would do, I've done protein both ways. I've done it every single week, and when I would do it every week, I would just do a deep condition, but I would use that protein deep conditioner as my deep conditioner. I would rinse that out, follow that up with my moisturizing deep conditioner, and process that with heat as well for 30 minutes. And then I would just go about my business, and I would do that every week. But like I said, protein can be very drying, and the protein conditioner that I was using, it was not drying. It did not dry my hair out, probably because I was using an extremely moisturizing deep conditioner following that. But I could definitely, my hair definitely felt more drier and more stronger immediately after I used the protein deep conditioner. So in my hair, I could definitely tell that my hair felt a lot better once I followed up with the moisturizing deep conditioner. So just be mindful of that. And if you have already been trying to use protein and it's not working, then maybe you can give the one that I'm recommending a try. Or if you do not want to do that, then maybe you can try to use an actual bond building product. Bond building products are a little bit stronger than protein treatments, because they're actually focusing on rebuilding the bonds in your hair to make your hair stronger. So if you feel like, your hair is just broken all the way down, the protein deep conditioners are not helping, then I would try a bond building treatment. I've never really tried any bond building treatments, so I cannot really attest to that, but I know Olaplex is a brand that a lot of people swear by, that has a lot of bond building products. So maybe give that line a try. And what I will also advise with this as well is to give this some time to work, because it's not going to work overnight. You're not going to notice your hair just feeling a lot stronger and thicker overnight. I would say give this maybe 60 to 90 days to actually see if you notice a thickness in your hair, see if you notice less shedding, reduced breakage in that area, and see if your hair feels different, see if your hair starts to look different. And that's when you kind of want to gauge, the next step, or what is going to be your next step in regards to trying to correct the overprocessed issue. The third step in getting your hair back to a much healthier state after being processed is sometimes we just have to make the cut. Now, as someone who has cut my hair a lot of times, I am someone who is for hair cutting, okay? I know a lot of people feel like you don't have to cut your hair to get your hair to a healthier state. You know, you can just work with your hair as it is and work with it like it is. You can do that, but sometimes the damage is just done, okay? Sometimes you need to just go ahead and make the cut and let go of what is damaged and start over. And really, your hair will grow back a lot faster than you think, especially if you continue to stay consistent, you continue to stay patient and just do what you're supposed to do. If you don't want to make a drastic cut where you're cutting off like 3 inches or so or more, then I would say make sure you get your ends trimmed really good, and trim as much off as you can if you don't want to make a cut, if it's going to impact your confidence or impact your look significantly to something that you really just are not comfortable with and something that you just really cannot do, then you know, don't do that, but try to trim off as much of the damage as you possibly can, and to just continue to uphold your healthy habits after that, and continue to just make positive changes, stay consistent on your hair going forward, and try to avoid what led to the overprocessing in the first place. Some things you can do to avoid overprocessed issues in the future is to wait a little bit longer if you can to get your relaxer. I'm not saying that you should stretch your relaxer, but I would say maybe a good time frame of maybe 10 to 16 weeks is good enough for most people to have enough new growth to go ahead and relax their hair without having a lot of overlap. I would also say make sure you work in neat sections when you relax your hair, and try to use mirrors if you can, if you have a lot of mirrors to help you see the problem areas that you cannot see. I would also recruit help if you at all possibly can, especially in the back, because it's really hard to see and really hard to get the back. So if you have someone that can help you in the back, or if you can even go to a professional stylist to do your relaxer that you trust, that knows what they're doing, that has a license, I would recommend that as well. And as far as just taking care of your hair to avoid breakage from just getting relaxers, period, I would definitely recommend, like I said, putting protein in your regimen. Protein is not a bad thing if you use it the right way. And the right way that I believe to use it is just to go ahead and add moisture when you're using it, and make sure there's a balance, and not overuse it if you really don't need to. So I would say maybe every other week, or even if you just feel like you really don't need it and your hair is good, maybe you could even just do it once a month. But for the girls who are experiencing issues with over processed sections in their hair, I would say maybe start off doing it every other week, or even on a weekly basis if you feel comfortable enough to do so. Let me know what you thought about this video, ladies. Are you someone that has experienced over processed issues with your hair? I know I certainly have, more than one time, and not every time that I had over processing was it the end all be all to my hair. My hair did thin out significantly when it was over processed, but I was eventually able to grow my hair back to a much thicker and healthier space with the proper care and just staying consistent. So I know that you can do the same thing if this is something that you're struggling with. And And if you are someone that has went through over processing issues, definitely feel free to help myself and the other ladies who might be watching this video by sharing some tips of things you did or products that you use to help get your hair to a much healthier state. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye bye.